She is a wife, a mother, an artist, country girl.
27 years old, live in Colorado. Pretty laid back person, like to snowboard a lot, listen to a lot of music, have a good time. I said easygoing, tough when I have to be, enjoyer of life.
I was born in Boulder, Colorado, and moved to New Jersey, North Jersey, and then down to Central Jersey, where I spent most of my growing up, Colts Neck. I went to the Colts Neck schools, Cedar Drive, and then Marlboro High School. I wasn't the greatest student. I was always struggled a little bit because I'm such a visual person. But I found ways to make it through using my art ability, and just an average student in an average school. And it was okay until I guess it was junior high, 7th, 8th grade. Pertaining to the subject of bullying, I was subjected to that. It seems that once you got into the grade school age, the cliques started to happen, to form, and everybody teamed up in different directions, and socially, there was a lot of judgment going on, and I was actually singled out by a couple of girls that decided that they didn't like me for whatever reason. Here as an adult, I have no idea, but they decided they would like to make my life living hell, and they basically terrorized me. It got so bad that they were telling stories about me, making up stuff, trying to get people against me, and it got so bad that I did not want to go to school. I would cry and beg not to have to go, because I knew that the criticism and the ridicule about everything I did was just going to continue. I think the bullies in this world prey on the meekest, the mildest, the ones that can't or don't stand up for themselves. It's never been my nature to puff my chest out and scream who I am and dominate other people, or have that sense about them. So I think they saw me as just quiet and shy, and I was an easy target. There were so many different incidences, making up stories about me so that other people might, say at the playground on recess, were swayed to treat me like I had the plague, because they believe these made up stories. When it came time for the 8th grade yearbook, they actually had these two girls were part of the committee for putting the yearbook together, and they in the yearbook you could write comments about other people, I don't know, most likely to succeed or whatever, and they actually had control of it. They put in a number of terrible things that they had said about me into the yearbook. Huh? And it was a horrible time of my life. How it ended, I don't know. I think they got kind of bored toying with me, and went into high school, and it was never a problem again for me. But that was a terrible time, and I think that inside of junior high, some of the innocence is gone. Some the kids are developing and socially maybe they're trying to find where they fit in the world. Um, and I guess their parents never taught them to treat others the way they would be treated. They would want to be treated. So it was a tough time and scarring for life, I think. And I'm certainly not the only person that's been bullied. I dare say everybody has a story of being bullied at one time or another.
Grew up in little Allentown, New Jersey, small farmish town, you know, rural for New Jersey. Um, Went to a school, elementary school, high school in town, all small. Um, Community where everyone kind of knows everyone. Everyone in school, for the most part, pretty much got along. You know, the parents knew the parents. All the kids kind of knew each other, and nice small community to grow up in. It was cool. Life at home was great. I got to grow up on a farm, which was awesome. Not in the sense of the dogs, cows, and sheeps, but you know, tree farm, lots of acreage, had a lot of room to run and play with my dog, and you know, good family, good parents, good brother and sister. Everyone got along. We had a lot of fun. You know, skiing and rafting on vacations, and you know, overall, couldn't have asked for really a better upbringing. School in general, from day one till the end, was a lot of ups and downs for me. You progress from the kindergarten, first, second grade, where everyone's young and happy and finger painting and making messes together, and no one really gives a shit, to forming cliques and forming groups and people becoming singled out at that point. I think, you know, that's around the age I think it kind of really starts. Yeah.
Well, Michael was our first child, so you know we had this idealistic view of, you know, you've got to be nice to everybody. We taught him that, kind and nice to everybody, and never cause any trouble. And you know, this is what he was raised with. Don't hurt anybody, and if somebody's, you know, in your face and not being nice, well, try to be nice back, and then walk away. But then I guess Mike was 9 or 10, and there was a boy at school that was starting to harass him and started to bully him. And he'd come home and not say too much. Of course, then I knew something was up, and I'd press him on it. And it turned out that this, you know, he said that, you know, somebody's not being nice to him. And I said, well, you know, walk away from it and try to be nice back, but just walk away, don't cause any trouble. And he didn't. He was doing what he was told to do, but the bullying continued. I remember that we had bought him a new Giants jersey, and he wore it to school. He was so proud of it. And this young man literally ripped it off his back and took his head and bashed it into a locker, and he came home with the ripped jersey and a cut head.
I had this problem with this kid. His name's Kyle. I don't know what grade I was in. Younger. Fourth grade maybe. Kid just was constantly picking on me. You know, used to harass me on the playground. And, you know, lots of different problems with him. I think it kind of came to a head one day. I had a fight on the basketball court. He ripped my New York Giants shirt, and we were pissed about that. And you know, and it's when it kind of came to a head, and you know, things came to fisticuffs, and you know, parents came in.
And that was it. Backing up, I do remember that I had called the school and talked to the principal and the teachers about this bullying and asked for them to intervene and do something about it. And I had thought and hoped that they would be watching for any incidences and take care of it. So obviously they hadn't done anything to stop this. So Mike came home with the ripped jersey and the head that was bleeding and cut, and that was it for me. I called the principal. I guess I was like Mama Bear, and I said, Mr. Cauldron, I have gave you so many chances to take care of this, and you haven't. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give Mike permission to, when this young man comes up to him and bullies him again, I'm now giving him full permission to beat the crap out of him and do what he has to do. I'm going to cry. To support him and to whatever he has to do to make this stop. And when you call him in to suspend him, punish him, he knows that his dad and I will be there supporting him. It's still so emotional. Oh, it's so hard when your children are abused. It's it's still today very hard. But I think I did the right thing. What happened, well, the principal had said, Mrs. Welle, as a parent, I can understand exactly what you're saying. But as a principal, I have to do my job and I can't condone it. And I said, well, that's fine. I'm doing what I have to do as a parent. I gave you a chance. You guys did not step up to the plate. You didn't do your job. So now I'm doing what I have to do. We sat Michael down and we told him exactly that he was allowed to go in there and take care of business. That he didn't have to be nice anymore. He had gone the extra mile and he now had permission to stand up to this kid and let him have it if he had to.
Being a normal kid, pretty much any normal kid doesn't want to get in trouble. You try to stay out of the way. You don't want to get sent to the principal's office. You don't want to get yelled at by your parents. You don't want any of those things. So even if someone's harassing you and someone's instigating you, you're not really inclined or apt to go swinging at them because you know where you're gonna land after that. All that's over at the principal's office. And third, fourth grade, that's heavy business. So it was kind of nice to get the kind of advice like, look, you're being messed with. You need to stand up for yourself. I vaguely remember that the school wasn't doing much about it originally, but if like I said, they're not going to do much about it, you need to stand up for yourself and handle the consequences. Be damned. You need to stand up for yourself.
And I think what had happened was Mike said, wow, Mom and Dad, they've got my back. And it gave him the confidence to go into school. Now, it's funny, I don't know exactly what happened to make it all stop. I think what it was he just gained enough presence, confidence, that he actually walked taller, straighter, stronger, and maybe got into this kid's face and said, I will take you down if you mess with me again. And it had stopped. The bullying stopped.
Well, it ended. It took one time and had a little fight on the playground, and I'm sure it looked retarded, but it was handled that day. It came down, the shirt was ripped, what have you. But in the principal's office, and it was pretty much, from what I recall, it was pretty much settled after that. Didn't really hear much more out of him, and it wasn't like standing up with some person I was prepared to be pummeled to death. And at the time it seemed like this big imposing task. It didn't really take much to stand up to the kid. Yeah.
And I don't think that young man came from a nice home. I did know his parents, and they were very angry. It was not a good situation. It was a very oppressive home, very angry parents for whatever reason. And that young man ended up being kicked out of the grade school and went to a Catholic school and was eventually kicked out of the Catholic school. So he was a very disturbed young man, and who knows as an adult what's happened to him. But Michael since has grown up to be a very strong individual that doesn't put up with nonsense from anyone. So maybe that experience in itself kind of helped him become the man he is today.
You realize that it doesn't take as much as you nearly think to stand up for yourself. Not just speaking in a physical altercation sense. From all of it, just stand up for yourself verbally, stand up for yourself physically, whatever it takes. It gets better knowing that you handled that situation. It really wasn't that bad. So, advice to move on, and so what if you get in trouble? Whatever. What's the worst that's gonna happen to you? You get suspended for a day. Suspension actually turns out to be kind of nice. You get out of school for a day, but never was suspended. I never got in trouble for any of that, and I think that when you're young, everything seems bigger. Everything's blown out of proportion. Looking back on it now, if I was a teacher looking at these two kids who are fighting, it's obvious which one's being picked on, which one's not being picked on. If the little one handled it all right, everything's turned out cool. It's not that big a deal. But when you're 4 feet tall, things are a little bit different. Your perspective is different. It's looking back, I suppose it was a good experience. I think that kind of thing. I'm glad it happened. And whether it happened then or it could happen later down the road, it could have been worse. I'll take what I was dealt for sure. And whether you look back on it as, like I said, a bad experience, or you can take it and use it. Yes, it was a bad experience, but can you gain something from it? Can you hurt, but then ultimately, help yourself heal and then get stronger from it? How you choose to deal with that is how you deal with that. But if you use it correctly, it's not really as bad as people make it out to be, for sure. Well, it could be a lot worse too. So it's hard to put a blanket on it, and when we speak from my perspective, what I went through.
Time heals anything. Sure. It's also kind of a life's lesson that helps make you who you are as an adult. In my case, I think it's made me stronger. In Michael's case, it certainly has made him stronger. Kind of helped him find out who he was, where he wanted to be as a person in life. And me too. I think it made me a better parent because I know I handled his situation properly. Well, one thing that I did was with my children, I raised them to be empathetic and care about other people and their differences and their shortcomings, because we all have them, and to always be mindful of other people's feelings, and I guess in teaching that, they stepped up to the plate, and I've heard many stories from them how they've seen other students being pushed around, being bullied, and they've stood up for them. And I think if more young people were encouraged to do that, stand up for the underdog, these bullies, people that wanted to hurt them, control them, would back down, and it should be honored and commended. These kids standing up for the underdog.